Little by little, but steadily as man's march to the grave, we are giving up the old for the new faith. Nearly 80 years ago, we began by declaring that all men are created equal. But now, from that beginning, we have run down to the other declaration that some men may enslave others as a sacred right. These principles cannot stand together. They are as opposite as God and mammon. And whoever holds to the one must despise the other. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This was their wise and noble understanding of the justice of the Creator to his creatures. Yes, gentlemen, to all his creatures, to the whole great family of man. To read in the Bible as the Word of God himself, that in the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread. And to preach there from that, in the sweat of another man's face shalt thou eat bread, to my mind can scarcely be reconciled with honest sincerity. I should like to share with you the words that I spoke when I participated in a ceremony to dedicate a cemetery at the battlefield of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania on November 19th of 1863. When I spoke there that day, few paid much attention to my words. Most present were enthralled with the 2-hour oration of the keynote speaker, Mr. Edward Everett of Massachusetts. But in my humble opinion, I believe these few words summarize exactly what we faced as a nation in this awful war, and what the result means to the future of our country. I hope that someday people will remember my words and agree that what we have accomplished was right for the United States of America. 87 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives, that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work, which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. I thank you, and may God bless America.